What if you woke up tomorrow and the internet was simply gone? Not slow, not down, gone. Forever. Every server, every signal, every connection erased from existence overnight. How long would it take before people started dying? How fast would governments collapse? Would humanity survive? Or would this be the end of civilization as we know it? These are not dramatic questions. They are the exact questions that defense agencies, hospitals, and governments around the world have already run simulations on. The answers are terrifying. In the first 60 seconds after the internet disappears, nothing feels wrong. Your phone shows no signal. You assume it is your carrier. You restart the device. Nothing changes. In the first 10 minutes, panic begins at hospitals. Modern hospitals run entirely on internet-connected systems for patient monitoring, medication, and records. Within 1 hour, air traffic control loses coordination across every major airport on Earth simultaneously. Planes already in the air are the most vulnerable. Pilots switch to emergency protocols immediately. There are approximately 10,000 commercial flights in the air at any given moment. Every single one depends on internet systems. Most land safely using backup radio and manual protocols. But the chaos on the ground at airports is immediate and total. No flight tracking, no booking systems, no communication with ground crews. Within 2 hours, the global financial system goes into a coma. Every stock market, every bank transaction, every digital payment frozen. ATMs stop working. Card payments stop everywhere. Here's the number that should stop you cold. 92% of all money on Earth exists only as digital data. There is no physical version. No internet means that money simply does not exist anymore. Within 4 hours, supply chains begin breaking. Modern supply chains are coordinated in real time by internet systems tracking inventory, shipments, and demand. Supermarkets receive deliveries based on real-time data. Without it, trucks stop moving within days. The food on store shelves right now is all there is, and people know it. Here is the first question most people never think to ask. How do water treatment facilities work without the internet? The answer will genuinely disturb you. Modern water treatment plants use internet-connected systems to monitor chemical levels, pressure, and contamination in real time. Without those systems, operators work blind, and working blind with water safety is catastrophic. Within 48 hours of losing the internet, the tap water in most major cities becomes unsafe to drink. Not because the pipes broke, because the monitoring systems that keep it safe went dark. Now let us talk about power grids, because this is where the scenario gets truly apocalyptic. Modern electrical grids are managed by internet-connected SCADA networks. SCADA systems balance electricity supply and demand across entire countries in real time. Without them, grid operators cannot prevent failures. Within 72 hours, rolling blackouts begin across most of the developed world. Not everywhere at once, but enough to trigger the next layer of collapse. Because everything runs on electricity. No electricity means no fuel pumps. No fuel means emergency vehicles cannot operate. No emergency vehicles means hospitals now face a complete crisis. Here is the twist that changes the entire conversation. Some parts of the world would not collapse. They would actually stabilize. Rural communities that never fully depended on the internet. Farming regions with manual water systems. Isolated towns with local power generation. These places would feel the loss least and gain the most power. For the first time in decades, the knowledge that matters most is not on a server. It is in the hands of farmers, mechanics, carpenters, and engineers who know how to build things without digital tools. The most valuable humans on Earth would not be software engineers or data analysts. They would be people who know how to grow food, fix engines, and purify water with their hands. Within 1 week, governments and developed nations begin losing control of major cities. Not because of revolution, because the systems that keep cities fed, powered, and safe simply stop functioning. Here comes the geopolitical twist that nobody talks about. Nations that built the least internet-dependent militaries would immediately become the most powerful. Russia and China have both invested heavily in offline military infrastructure. That investment suddenly becomes the most valuable strategic asset. Western militaries, the most technologically advanced, would face a catastrophic capability gap. Drone systems, satellite coordination, and precision weapons all depend on internet. Within 2 weeks, the geopolitical map of the world begins to redraw itself in real time. The old order collapses silently. Now here is a cultural question that hits differently. What happens to human knowledge? For decades of human knowledge exists only in digital form. With no internet, it is gone. Research papers, medical databases, scientific discoveries, historical records, architectural plans, legal systems. Every piece of knowledge created after 1990 that was never printed vanishes permanently. Libraries become the most important buildings. Every physical book becomes irreplaceable. The people who read the most books suddenly hold more knowledge than any server farm ever did. Here comes the twist that nobody sees coming. Some knowledge would not be lost at all, because millions of people carry it in their heads. And knowledge that lives in humans cannot be deleted by a server going dark. Doctors who memorized procedures, engineers who understood systems before software modeled them, teachers who learned before digital archives existed. These people become the most important humans alive. Within 1 month, an entirely new economy begins to emerge. Not digital, not global, hyperlocal, built on physical goods, physical skills, and physical trust between people who can see each other. Barter systems appear spontaneously in every city and town on Earth, not because anyone planned them, because human beings have always known how to trade when money stops working. Now let us talk about what most people consider the strangest consequence of all. Within weeks of losing the internet, crime drops significantly. Not recess drops. Modern organized crime depends on the internet to coordinate, communicate, and move money. Without it, criminal networks fragment instantly. Local criminals face communities that are suddenly very alert and very organized. Communities that were isolated by screens suddenly have to interact face-to-face. Neighbors who had not spoken in years begin talking. Local knowledge networks form organically and rapidly. Human connection accelerates. Here is the mental health paradox. The first month without the internet is the most psychologically painful period most people in developed nations have ever experienced. Anxiety, withdrawal symptoms, loss of identity for people whose entire sense of self was built online. The psychological infrastructure collapses. But by month 3, something unexpected begins happening in communities that have stabilized. Mental health metrics begin improving significantly. Less comparison, less performance, less anxiety about a digital world that no longer exists. People begin experiencing time differently, slower, fuller, more present than they have been in decades. Now here comes the question that reframes this entire scenario. Would humanity try to rebuild the internet, or would it decide not to? The physical infrastructure to rebuild it exists. Fiber optic cables are still in the ground. The engineering knowledge to restore it lives in millions of people's heads. Rebuilding is possible. But here is what makes that question genuinely complicated. A significant portion of the surviving population would actively resist rebuilding it. Not from ignorance, from experience. Having lived through both realities, they would argue with data that the internet-free world produced stronger communities, cleaner environments, and more present human beings. The debate over whether to rebuild the internet would become the defining political conflict, more divisive than any election, more consequential than any war. Those who want it back would point to the lives lost, the knowledge destroyed, and the medical advances that died with the servers. The argument is devastating and completely valid. Those who resist rebuilding would point to the communities that thrived, the mental health improvements, and the environmental recovery that began the moment data centers stopped consuming power globally. Here is the environmental fact that almost nobody knows. The internet consumes more electricity annually than the entire country of Germany. Losing it would be the single largest reduction in energy consumption. Within 1 year of the internet disappearing, carbon emissions would drop by an amount that climate agreements have been failing to achieve. The planet would begin healing at a measurable rate. The honest answer to whether losing the internet forever would destroy humanity or save it is both. Simultaneously, it would kill millions while freeing billions. It would erase knowledge while restoring wisdom. The internet disappearing forever is the most clarifying thought experiment of our time, because it forces one question above all others. What is civilization actually built on, the network or the people inside it? The answer, when you trace every consequence to its root, is always the same: the people. It was always the people. The internet was just the most powerful tool they ever built. And tools can be rebuilt. If this changed how you think about technology, dependence, and what actually matters, subscribe and stay close. Because on this channel, the impossible gets more real every single week.